Alright, so today is Sunday. It's the day after Nome X, and I wanted to give just my brief thoughts about the event itself. Just the battles, everything that went down, all that. Try not to be too redundant. I'm gonna try to keep this brief. Caught it basically from the jump. Saw every battle. What was it? Jay versus Fonz, Jay the Nightwing versus Fonz, Mike P versus Saga, Geechee versus Averb, Daylight versus Tay Rock, and Lux versus Sue Surf. Now, I was just like writing my notes here. I feel like I might have been a little biased towards people on the right side because I came away with like everybody just looking at from the camera, looking on like the stream and whatnot. Everybody that was on the right side, I had them winning their battles. Excuse me, not right side, the left side. I guess, yeah, everybody on the left side of the screen. Excuse me. Ooh, it's early. But yeah, everybody on the left side I had winning. I don't know if that's bias or I don't know if that's just coincidence. But I mean, that's neither here nor there. Just general thoughts. Without getting too much in detail. Like, this isn't a recap, like, of some of the other videos you might be seeing out. This is just my thoughts. I've been following URL through Caffeine basically since week 2 of Ultimate Madness, which I have a video for recapping that week of Ultimate Madness. I believe I watched weeks 3 and 4, or something like that. I didn't do a review for those. I honestly didn't feel like it. I didn't feel like I had much to say. By the time I thought about it, like maybe something I could say, it was already Saturday again, so it was the next week. So that's neither here nor there. Supposed to be keeping this brief. Yeah, so the battles overall were pretty underwhelming. I don't know if it's the environment. I don't know if it's the being used to the crowd reaction for certain bars. I don't know if it's used to like the MCs having a certain delivery. A lot of them, like you go Saga, Mike P, Jay the Nightwing, they went the route of just like being very, very loud, like almost yelling their bars to start off their battles and just kind of throughout. And the vocal projection was good, but I feel like a lot of guys like delivery was kind of sloppy. And I don't know. I don't know if it, without crowd reaction, the rounds seem longer when people are just rapping. Like you take Daylight versus Tay Rock, for instance. There was just periods of time where I was like, well, maybe because Daylight was rapping faster, it felt like the rounds were shorter. But I don't know. But with Tay Rock, it was like, yo, he's really like rapping for a long period of time. And I don't know if I like that, to be honest with you. Like, I don't know if I'm the type that if this going to be this format where it's just them and no crowd, there's a crowd obviously there. There's been a crowd since a few weeks into Ultimate Madness. But no real, like, it's not supposed to be reaction. It's supposed to be just them on the platform by themselves on the stage or the floor because there's not a stage. And yeah, man, I wasn't really feeling it. It maybe the rounds just need to be shorter if it's going to be this format. Like 3 minutes of rap is a long time. Just you think song format, they break the verses up with choruses usually 2, and these guys are just rapping, giving you like, basically full songs worth of verses each round. And yeah, man, I'm starting the more I've listened to battle rap, the more I kind of like when the MCs get to the point, like what they're trying to say, and then drive that point home, and then all right, I've said what I had to say. That's the round right there. Versus trying to throw everything at the wall, try to land as many punchlines and schemes as possible. Like that's cool, but that's not really what I'm feel like I'm into anymore. I like the stuff where I feel like it sticks. Where you get like Geechee Gotti. I'm gonna jump around a lot. With Geechee Gotti versus Averb, where he makes an angle. He takes an angle that Verb has this thing he has this thing about how great he is because he helped build URL and all this stuff, which he was there from the beginning of URL, and he has had an impact on the Midwest and all this stuff. But like, Verb always leaves out that, okay, for a while, and I'm somebody that at one point, I'm not even gonna say at one point, in the beginning of URL, Averb was my favorite in URL. It just is what it is for like several years up until like the pay Verb era, where it was just like, hey, if you drop the bag, I'll come. Like, Averb was one of the first people I heard say drop the bag. Nowadays you hear people say bag all the time, or get the bag or whatever. But yeah, it's like if you drop the bag, Verb will show up, or he won't show up. He'll give you like kind of mediocre performance, and that's it. 1-round battles. And Geechee made this point that, you basically, you could argue that Verb kind of ushered in he made it cool for like essentially the runoff with the deposit kind of thing, or just show up with like half-ass rounds. Like, he was kind of one of the first. Like, of course you had people like QP, who I guess at the time he wasn't taking it as serious, because it was so easy for him. Who, like, not all 3 rounds or whatever, or what have you. But like, Verb was he went on a streak of doing this, and I don't know. I like angles like that where it's like, you can punchline everything, you can wordplay all this stuff, but you can't get around it. This is something that really happened. This is something you really did. This is something that really is about you. Like, Averb does the same thing against DNA in his first round when they battled, and it's just like, you ushered in the door for a lot of these people to have gun bars when they don't shoot guns and they're not about this life. And it's like, oh, as long as it's battle rap, like, I can say whatever. And I like angles like that. Like, I guess to show a little bit of how long I've been watching this. Awkward's, what is it? Awkward's versus, it was either Arsenal or T-Rex. This was in grind time. He said, my shit, or maybe it was Hollow. He said, my shit's rebuttal proof because you can't rebuttal truth or what have you. And it's just like, if I just say what was really going on, if I don't fabricate a bunch of stuff, if I just tell you, like, you did this, you got beat up, you got robbed, like stuff that really happened, like, you can spit all the punchlines and shit in the world, like, it doesn't negate the fact that happened. If you turned your back on battle rap, like certain people who remain nameless for years, and then just came back every time it was popping, it's like, I can't, like, you can't overlook stuff like that just because you went off in the second round after that. Like, you know what I'm saying? But we, like, K-Shine versus Sue Surf, like the whole thing about, oh, in New York, if you get caught for gun, you're supposed to do 5 years time, or whatever the number was, like, minimum. And like, just stuff like that, where it's like, where granted, some of that stuff, like, Sue Surf's in New Jersey, he may not, the laws probably are different from New York, so it is. You could probably argue some of it's a little fabricated, but the stuff that actually hits home, like, those are the kind of angles, those are the kind of things I like. And battle rap is just not, it's not about that. It's just like, who has the more wittier. I'm seeing, as I'm watching the comments, I'm watching the votes and stuff, I'm just starting to realize that people just care about, like, who had the more punchlines, who landed, like, who had more punchlines, who said the most stuff. I'm watching, and case in point, I'm watching Jada Nightwing versus Fonz. And granted, Fonz had I guess a tight scheme with, like, the wing stuff in the second round, but, like, pretty much outside of that, it was just like, his delivery is not great. Like, they keep calling him like a watered down Av. Like, I say, what he lacks that other punchers have, like Av does. Av has the delivery, he has the conviction, and he has the wittiness, and he hits. He has the vocal projection. B Magic has, like, the cadence. He has the flow. He's able to build up the momentum with his punchlines. And Fawn just doesn't have that, He doesn't have that at this point. He may get it, but it's just like punchline, 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 monotone delivery. And it's just like, not monotone, but it's like he didn't really, his voice doesn't oscillate. You can't tell he's really feeling what he's saying, you know. But he said a lot of punchlines, and that's what people like. And I'm like, you know, Jay the Nightwing has that. Granted, he said less punchlines, so I'm guessing nowadays this is what people look for, and that's it. It doesn't matter like your overall performance. It doesn't matter like what you did, what you said, or what angles were taken against you. If you just outbar the other person, that's all that matters. And I was learning that through the Ultimate Madness. And I'm firm in this now that maybe I just, you know, I've been watching battle rap since like 2007, 2008. And there was about a couple years in there where I was like watching it not as frequently, like maybe like 2014 to 2017. Like I wasn't really heavy on battle rap as I was like 2008, 2009, 2010, where it was like literally every day for me. But yeah, man, it is, I don't know, I feel like I'm growing apart from battle rap. And this event, this is my first like watching a live event like this. Like, I'll be honest, I haven't been to any events in person, so this is my closest thing with the Ultimate Madness, of course. But this is like this is supposed to be a big event, and like watching the in between, like the talking and all that stuff. I've been just catching stuff on YouTube and whatnot, and yeah, it's supposed to be brief. We're already at like 12 minutes basically. I'm gonna just try to wrap this up. I didn't like the Lux versus Surf battle from the genesis of it. I saw it as Surf was supposed to be battling Mook. That's what the people wanted, you know, like that's what the people were talking about. I didn't want it, but this is the conversation. I was listening to, you know, like your angry fans, like all, you know, all that stuff, like your J Blacks, all like these people were saying like, yo, this battle makes sense. And I listened. I was like, all right, you know what, y'all making some good points. The battle rap community is making a lot of good points on why this battle should happen. They're saying that Sue Surf is the Mook of this era, you know, even though that's debatable. Like he's popular, he's as popular as Mook is. You know, he doesn't win as much. You know, if you do like the what do you call that? The record thing that Math Hoffa did on My Expert Opinion, if you follow that type of stuff, like he has some very clear losses, including this loss against Loaded Lux on his resume. And not to bash Surf or anything, but it didn't make sense for him to get Lux. I see why they did it, where he went to jail, you know, right before Gun Titles battle, Loaded Hollows, which I'm hating how battle rap media and people are just like trying to throw people together and just give real cheesy names. Like I was watching one thing and they were like, oh, are we going to get Beloved or Lights of Luxury or Lights or some Days of Luxury with Daylight and Lux? I was like, come on now. Like y'all got to do better with these 2-on-2 names. But anyway, I'm getting off the point. I'm rambling. Yeah, man. Like Sue Surf went to jail before that battle. And then I started to see the talk like, oh, well, because people were like, oh, Surf gets to battle Lux and Tay-Rock gets to battle Lux. And they may not, well, Tay-Rock may never get to battle him outside of this because of his ranking within battle rap and whatnot, his place. And they're like, oh, well, Surf, this could be our time to see it. And then Surf went to jail. And then it was like, oh, okay. People wanted to see this because he wasn't there for that battle. And they pushed for this. And I was like, well, what happened to the Mook versus Surf battle? And I guess because Mook battle Verb, that, you know, people were just like, all right, whatever. We're gonna wait for this battle. But yeah, battle didn't make sense. And then, yeah, people were really championing this battle. And then it happened. Surf talked a lot of shit and just underperformed. And it's the same thing I'm seeing this isn't just on Surf. This is on like all of the vets. They're complaining about the 2 weeks prep for an Ultimate Madness when they were doing it. Like, you know, your Bill Collector Glueasy, even though I understand Bill Collector had a family situation going on and other things, which is why he underprepared. Well, not underprepared. He just wasn't in the mind state for that battle. But it's, you know, this is from his own mouth. So I'm gonna give him the credit to believe him until other evidence is provided. Where was I? Yeah, man, like the vets, just like that no crowd scenario. It's just like people were saying, like, we finally get to hear what you sound like without the gas. And it's a lot of people sound kind of unexciting without the gas. I'm gonna keep it real. And it's just like Summer Madness 1 where like the MCs have to adjust to a new environment where they had to hold the microphones. And it's just like, if you can't still perform with a microphone in your hand, then it's something wrong with you as an MC. Now, granted, that's something they hadn't had to do before, but Tech Nine did it. He did a good job. Hollow did a good job. Like, it wasn't like nobody was I forget if T-Rex Battle conceded Summer Madness 1. That was a long time ago. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but I believe they both did well with the mics. Like, they didn't, like, then, you know, they started doing like the lapel mics after that. But it's like, yeah, the battle rappers blamed, oh, it's the mics, I couldn't rap, like Charlie Clips and Verb. Charlie Clips seemed to do pretty well with the mic. It seems like, you know, some people, they aren't prepared for the situation, and it's crazy to talk yourself up. Damn, this is gonna be real long. This ain't gonna be short as I thought. This is turning into a rant. Oh man. It's crazy how the battle rappers tout themselves these juggernauts, the veterans, these soldiers, you know, that can weather any situation, can rock any crowd despite the circumstances and all these other things. But when the environment is flipped, it's crazy how exposed they become. You know, like, there's like, oh, like I heard Surf and Lux, to be fair, like, oh, it's talking about, oh yeah, I could hear myself. The echo was crazy and all this other stuff. And it's like, well, what did you expect? Like, I know y'all were preparing in your mind for, hey, this is going to be on a stage versus a lot of people, but we've been on quarantine for like, what is it, July? Like, since March, stuff has been shut down. So it's like, y'all had to know that they wasn't about to open up no large venues for y'all. Like, y'all knew the battle was happening. Like, you couldn't mentally prepare yourself that, hey, like, it's just going to be me. I'm just going to rap. I'm going to get through my material. I'm not going to have really any crowd reaction. Like, I don't know. Like, you know, like, when it's weird. When they're successful, when the battle rappers face the adversity and they pull it off, they wear it like a crown, you know? Like Verb battled SB. It's like, yeah, we were standing on the corner. Like, I didn't know. I just jumped in there and battled, and I killed him. Like, stuff like that. When they do well in a new environment, it's, oh, okay, yeah, I'm just that great. But when they don't do well, it's, oh, well, you know, the circumstances, I couldn't really get off the way I wanted. It's, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's weird to me. It's weird to me, man. Like, I like how Sue Surf is at least wearing his L. It's like, hey, it's Lux. It's in a funny way. It kind of reminds me of when he lost to Young Ill back in, like, I guess his first battle on URL. You know, you saw, like, after the battle, you know, I forget if it was Dash Living or whatnot. Yeah, he's just real, like, you get to see Humble Surf come out a little bit. It's like, hey, like, yeah, man, I lost. It is what it is. Like, you know, I have respect. Like, it's crazy, man. I don't know. Just general thoughts. The most underwhelming main event I've seen in a while. Which, yeah, I feel like Loaded Lux may be a little bit washed. I don't want to say he's completely washed, but I feel like he's getting to a point where it's like his mind is in a different place. He's about positivity and stuff like that, and like eating healthy. Like, I don't know if he should be in battle rap. Like, considering what it is, the aggressive sport, like the violent nature of it. Like, if you can't fully go into that space, you know, and that's what you know your opponent's going to do. Like, you know, Surf is going to be able to go there because Surf is, as far as we know, still in that environment. And he's still, you know, still going to jail, still in the streets or what have you, you know. He can still take it there mentally because he's not fully removed from that. Whereas Lux is on a different spiritual path at this point. And it's just like, I feel like some of the power in his punches just isn't there anymore because of that. So yeah, it's just, I don't know. Lux, he feels kind of washed right now. You know, and they say, you know, they always say you're only as good as your last battle. You know, maybe he does well in a future battle and what have you, but not in this one. I mean, he did enough to beat Surf, which, you know, Surf chokes in the third round. They were pretty much even in the first and second, as far as my recollection. Just not a real eventful battle, honestly. Like Surf's introduction, it was like, okay, eating Apple Jacks, okay, you got this gray hoodie. All right. I feel like if you're going to do stuff like that, you kind of, I want to hear you, like, make it more, like, purposeful. Like, all right, not just, oh, I'm just going to use references in a couple bars and I got this hoodie that I'm dragging. Like, I mean, get into it. You know, like, if you're gonna go that route, I'd rather you go to Jay the Nightwing Fawn's route with their props and whatnot, you know, than like how Tay Rock and Surf did, where it's like, we're gonna reference it a little bit, but we're not really gonna get into it. But I don't know. This video is already long enough, so I'm gonna cut it off here. Yeah, just very underwhelming event. I mean, Mike P versus Saga was cool until Saga started choking. I mean, the third round, I like what he tried to do, but it was still weird. With the cop arresting him I knew it was going to happen. I thought it was going to happen mid-verse. But Daylight versus Tay-Rock was not the body I thought it would be. And I'm oddly happy for that. Because I wanted Tay-Rock to lose, to be honest with you. But nah, Tay-Rock did his thing. I feel like the rounds for people were long. I feel like the vets, they struggled to, without exception of Tay-Rock and Daylight, and Mike P, the vets seem like, and well, A-Verb seems to want that, and Geechee is not really looked at as a vet, even though he's been around for a while. Pretty much, it's just Lux and Surf, because Lux was stumbling. Saga stumbled. You know, I don't know, man. It just underwhelming. I wanted Jay the Nightwing to win. Didn't. It is what it is. The people voted for him. As soon as the judges voted the way they did, I was like, all right, whatever. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this. Just my thoughts on the event as a whole. Tried to make this short, but then I realized there's a lot to capture. But yeah, this is KS out and peace.